Do you know what happens when a director offers you two opposing stories of beauty and horror in one film? Well, that's The Zone of Interest. The Zone of Interest is a 2023 historical drama written and directed by Jonathan Glazer, loosely based on the 2014 novel by Martin Amis. Unlike the film we are reviewing today, the Zone of Interest novel tells the story of a Nazi officer who has become enamored by the camp commandant's wife. However, the film takes a whole different route with extremely accurate depiction of horror endured by Jews in Auschwitz without showing any of it. Yep, this movie is a horror film that does not actually show you any of the horror, but you do hear it and your imagination takes you on a gut-wrenching journey. Absolutely gut-wrenching.
Their garden wall was the same wall on the other side that was the death camp. In our early research, the photographs, the Hoss family album is in this garden. You see everything. You see the pool and the slide and the greenhouse and the rest of it. You never see the wall that abuts the camp.
The Zone of Interest is a carefully coined name for the Auschwitz concentration camp where mass genocide was committed against mainly Jews. It is said that at least 1.1 million people were killed in the Zone of Interest. And oh, if those grounds could speak, I don't even think I would love to hear any of it. The Zone of Interest is a chilling portrait of complicity. The movie's prime drama is the conflict between professional life and family happiness. And within its immediate surrounding echoes horror to the deaf ears of the Nazis. For the first few minutes of The Zone of Interest, the film deliberately isolates your sense of hearing. A black screen lingers as the droning notes are woven with whisper and sounds of nature. You are plunged into a meditative state of simultaneous sensory deprivation and amplification, with the effect remaining for the next 2 hours. You will pay attention to everything you hear. The most disturbing moments of this film are its most subtle moments. Just picture this. You hear the sounds of babies crying in the distance and their parents screaming in agony, and then all of a sudden, silence. And then you see a plume of smoke in the horizon coming out from what looks like a chimney. And right there, I don't need to tell you anymore. And with that said, here is the plot followed by the pros and cons and my 2 cents rating. In 1943, Rudolf Höss, a commandant of the Auschwitz concentration camp, lives with his wife Hedwig and their 5 children in an idyllic home next to the camp. Höss takes the children out to swim and fish, and Hedwig spends time tending to her lush gardens. Servants handle chores, and the prisoners' belongings are given to the families of the SS officers. Beyond the garden wall, gunshots, screaming, sounds of train and furnace are audible, and plumes of smoke are visible. Now for the pros and cons of this film, starting with cons. Con number 1. I wish I was smart enough to tell stories like this, because what Jonathan Glazer has done with this movie just makes other historical dramas look like Michael Bay shot them. Con number 2. If you have ADHD or anxiety, or you are an all-round fidgeting type of person, this movie will drive you nuts because it's very intentionally slow and does not speed up for 2 hours straight, because the director does not want to make you feel comfortable or entertained. He does want you to pay attention and listen with intent. Anyway, my cons are not exactly cons, and now let's just move on to pros. Pro number 1. Once this movie starts, you are now experiencing 2 films. The film you can see and the film you can hear, and none of them interrupt with each other, and sometimes you wish they did. Pro number 2. The 2 main cast, Christian Friedel and Sandra Haller, are so believable in this role that you feel like sending them death threats after the movie is over. But don't do that. They're just actors. Sandra Haller herself didn't even want to play the role. She didn't want to be associated with a Nazi role. The director was cunning enough to get her to read for it without knowing the context of the film, and I'm glad he did that because she was fantastic, but I wouldn't hold it against her. Pro number 3. The objective view of the camera is masterfully done. This film had no crew on set. There were 10 cameras placed in different vantage points so the actors can freely act and improvise like it's real life. And my God, that was a great idea. Pro number 4. There is no musical score in this film to tell you how to feel at any given time, and I feel like that's appropriate for the subject matter. Pro number 5. The story may be real and horrible, but the cinematography is a masterpiece, and I as a cinematographer has learned a lot from this film. Pro number 6, and I feel like this is the most important pro. The sound design in this film is a masterpiece. Because there's no musical score whatsoever, everything you hear in the surrounding of the camp is all the more horrifying and grotesque, whilst being juxtaposing to the discussion within the household of the Nazi officers. Basically, over here, beauty, happiness, family, abundance, and over there, just in the distance, is just wow, just pure horror. It's horrible what you'll be hearing. Pro number 7. I heard someone blindly criticize this movie for humanizing the Nazis, and in some ways they were right, but in the wrong way. You get to observe these monsters have an amazing life whilst being well aware of the horrors over the fence and profiting from it. This movie exposes the Nazis in ways you've probably never imagined. I'm gonna rate this movie a 10 out of 10 must watch, but only to a handful of people because it's not an exciting story, but it is one of the best well-told visual stories so far. This film will stay with you long after you leave the cinemas. It will really stick with you. If you're going to watch this film, you have to be in a somber yet inquisitive mood. Your inquisitivity will keep you in your seats and your somberness will allow you to feel. But it's not a date night kind of movie. But surprisingly, you can watch this movie with your kids around because they won't get the context or subtext, and I kind of envy them. And that's my 2 cents. If you made it this far and found value in this video, like and consider subscribing. Thank you so much. Peace.